Hello and welcome to another episode of Sus Faction.
Yeah, our intro sounded a little quiet today.
It was a little quiet. I'm
Oh
not
well.
sure.
um, yeah, hello. Today is a Kyle-centric episode, and I'm Kyle,
And I'm Isela.
and we're your hosts. Today we're gonna do the infamous 1969 moon landing.
Which I think the timing of this is really good because the Artemis 2 thing just happened. So
I don't know what the Artemis 2 thing is.
Oh, Artemis 2 is the space shuttle that they just sent up with a bunch of people that went close to the moon and orbited it and came back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did that really happen too?
Well, we're not sure, but supposedly that's what happened.
Awesome.
They sent people
That's
up.
cool.
Yeah, and it just happened. So space is on everybody's radar right now.
Right on. That's so cool. Well, I still have trouble thinking that Katy Perry went up in space the little bit that she did, even though she
Right.
wasn't really in space, but
Yeah.
she went up in a capsule and hovered there for a minute.
Yeah. Well, kind of before you start, I wanted to say that my favorite quote that kind of sums up what this is about, this episode, is from George Carlin.
Oh yes.
One small step for man, one giant lie for mankind. I love George Carlin.
I love George Carlin too.
Yeah, but that quote was from a Mad TV skit that he did where they outright call the 1969 moon landing a hoax.
Right. Okay, well, what I have for you today is just some information. It's just facts. So, and also some rhetoric and whatever, some narrative.
Okay.
The idea that the moon landing was faked is one of the most famous conspiracy theories of the 20th century. It usually claims that the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969, when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked on the moon, was staged, often supposedly filmed on Earth. Here's a clear breakdown of the main claims and what evidence actually shows. Okay, so common conspiracy claims. The flag is waving. People say that the U.S. flag appears to flutter like it's in the wind, which it shouldn't happen on the moon because it has no atmosphere.
Right, in the vacuum of space, there's no wind.
In reality, the flag had a horizontal rod to keep it extended. When the astronauts planted it, it moved slowly. When it was settled, no air needed. So it's supposed to have been, a rod was posted inside of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? To keep it out and fanned out.
To keep it fanned out. But it did wave.
Right.
In what we've seen. It looks like it flutters.
Exactly. Well, the second one is there's no stars in the sky. Photos don't show stars, so some claim they were taken in a studio. The reality is camera exposure settings were tuned for the bright lunar surface and astronauts. Stars are too dim to appear under those settings. Same effect happens in daylight photos on Earth.
Yeah, I looked that up about the stars. I didn't write it down, but I remember that it said that the reason they didn't try and fake the stars is because at that time it would have been extremely difficult to make them look realistic, so they just decided to leave them out.
Right. Shadows don't look right is number 3. Some shadows appear angled differently, suggesting multiple lighting sources like studio lights. When in quote-unquote reality, uneven lunar terrain and wide-angle camera lenses distort perspective. The sun was the only major light source. Number 4, why haven't we gone back? Some argue if it were real, we go to the moon all the time. When in reality, quote-unquote, we did go back multiple times, 6 crewed landings from 1969 to 1972. After that, funding and priorities shifted away from the moon.
Yeah, I have each one of those and who was on them. Do you want me to go through that?
Go for it.
Okay. So we have 6 moon landings between 1969 and 1972. The Apollo 11 was Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin. They landed in the Sea of Tranquility, very flat, easy to replicate area.
Yeah.
The Apollo 12 was November 19th, 1969, with Pete Conrad and Aldrin Alden Bean. They landed in a very flat area known as the Ocean of Storms. Apollo 13, we know, was a very sad
Yeah.
um, that mission that did not wasn't completed.
Right.
And so Apollo 14 on February 5th of 1971 with David Scott and James Irwin landed where the Apollo 13 was supposed to, in what is known as a cone crater, a Fra Mauro formation. Crater, again, flat. Apollo 15, July 30th, 1971, Alan Shepard and Edgar Mitchell, the swamp of decay. You can see mountains in the background of that one, but otherwise the swamp is fairly flat. Apollo 16, for April 21st, 1972, John Young and Charles Duke, in the Descartes Highlands, they used a lunar roving vehicle to explore the craters for the very first time. That was when they used a vehicle to
A
move
lunar rover?
to move about the moon. Apollo 17, December 11th, 1972, Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmidt. I was like, where did I put his last name? Sorry, my notes are very, very messy today.
You're fine.
They landed in Taurus Litron. It was a valley, and they discovered orange soil there.
That's weird.
Apollo 18 mission was canceled. Apparently, it was too expensive to go to the moon. The Kennedy's government had estimated a $7 billion to be spent on exploration of the moon and the space race. And by the end, the total cost came to $20 billion.
Wow.
So
That's a lot of money.
those are all of the landings. But the skepticism with that is that those were also filmed in a studio because most of them were flat. That's why I wanted to look at where they landed.
Stuff about it being flat.
Okay.
Strong evidence that the landing was real. No, this is supposed, alleged, whatever. Independent tracking. The mission was tracked not just by NASA but also by observatories and even rival countries like the Soviet Union during the Cold War. They had every reason to expose a hoax, but didn't. Moon rocks. Apollo astronauts brought back 382 kilograms, about 842 pounds of lunar rock studied worldwide. These samples have unique properties different from that of Earth's rocks. Retroreflectors. Devices left on the moon still reflect lasers sent from the Earth today.
Oh, yeah. They test the distance of the moon.
Confirming the landing sites.
Yeah.
Modern photo satellites like NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter have photographed the landing sites showing equipment and astronauts' tracks still on the surface. Okay, so where was it? I gotta find it. Okay, so the common conspiracy theories and claims and scientific explanations. The waving flag, we already talked about it. No stars, we already talked about it. Shadows, we already talked about it. But no crater from the lander. The lunar module landed using low thrust propulsion, and the surface in the solid rock underneath shallow dust, meaning no massive crater was expected. So it was like talking about how I guess there was one or there wasn't one, and they expected one.
Oh, okay.
Like they expected a crater from the lander, and there was not one.
Okay. Well, in addition to, because you were talking about moon rocks that they brought back, a fraudulent moon. Oh my goodness, fraudulent moon rock was gifted to the Netherlands.
All fraudulent.
Right? So, I mean, if one's fake, and it was gifted to them from our government to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And later it was found to be petrified wood.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we didn't even give them a real moon rock. If we had gone to the moon, we didn't want to actually give anything up to them, so I guess we just faked it, or the whole thing was fake.
Yeah.
Who knows? But also, you mentioned shadows. I wanted to add to that with the photo of Buzz Aldrin. Um, in the photo of Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong doesn't appear to be taking the photo in the reflection on Aldrin's helmet. So who took the photo?
Right. I've
They
seen that.
Yeah, they tried to debunk that by later saying and later adding photos and showing photos that Armstrong had a camera affixed to his chest on the suit he was wearing.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, yeah, right. I know that doesn't make any sense. And why didn't they show
They're
that
not using body
before?
cams
Why
back
did
in
why did they
1969.
wait to
Yeah,
release that photo until it became like a problem?
right.
So I mean, it's like, give me everything you got, or it seems like you're fabricating evidence.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you have anything?
Um,
I have other stuff, but
just like the moon landing conspiracy theories claim that the NASA often, with the help of filmmakers like Stanley Kubrick,
oh yeah,
faked the six Apollo lunar landings between 1969 and 1972. Proponents allege the footage was shot in a studio to win the space race against the Soviet Union, citing evidence like waving flag in a vacuum, lack of stars, and strange shadows. Um, that's just like AI, like quick response from Google, but
yeah. Well, no,
it's got the thing about moon rocks and lunar laser ranging reflectors. The laser reflectors replaced on the moon by the Apollo 11, 14, and 15 are still used today by observatories. Whatever. But did you have something else?
I have more about Stanley Kubrick. So,
Okay, yeah.
um, he, the theory or the conspiracy theory or what have you, is that Stanley Kubrick shot the moon landing in a Hollywood studio or in room 237 in NASA headquarters. Um, and the reason for that is there are a lot of clues and similarities with The Shining, one of Kubrick's movies. Danny wears an Apollo 11 sweater,
Yes, yes, yes,
and the carpet in the hotel matches the pattern on the launch pad.
yes.
Room 237 didn't exist in the hotel, but it did in the movie, and the moon is 237,000 miles from Earth.
That's so creepy. I like it though. That's awesome. By the way, I love your shirt.
Oh, thank you. I got it from Salem.
Salem
Yeah.
Witches Museum. Salem Witch Museum. I love that.
Yes. Yes.
But anyways, so yeah, I think the moon landing was faked just because I don't think okay, now here's where I guess we can discuss what I think or what you think.
Mhm.
Um, despite all that, I think that it's possible, but I think that it was faked because I don't think we had the technology to do. I just don't think we did. I just don't think we had the technology to fulfill a lunar landing in 1969.
And I agree with you because evidence says like that it was rushed based on Kennedy making promises in 1961 that we would get there by the end of the decade, and they happened to pull it off in 1969,
Right.
which means, oh, we're running out of time. How can we make it look like we
How can we
actually
make it
got there?
happen
Yeah,
by the time I said we would make it
yeah.
happen?
Well,
Yeah.
he was no longer with us by that time, but they wanted to still fulfill his promise
Right.
to make it there and beat Russia and what have you, but they said, "Oh no, we're at the end of the decade and we're supposed to have made it to the moon." So, no, that's what a lot of people point to is that we rushed to get there and make it ready. And yes, we were working on stuff, but I don't know that, especially the 1969 landing. That's the one that's the most like suspicious
Yeah.
because of the timing. Um, and then the others either followed suit or maybe they eventually got there, but because they weren't as heavily publicized
Right.
as the first time, like they just kind of fell to the wayside. People
Yeah.
I know I had to look like, did we ever go back? Yeah, we went back 6 times, but mm, not in 50 years. We haven't been back.
Right. So, and I think now we probably could or can't we, and we still can't. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
it's just preposterous to me that they made it to the moon in '69. I just don't think it happened.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple more. Well, I have one other conspiracy theory as to how they made it happen,
Okay.
um, visually, and then I have some stuff talking about the future. So another, well, let's finish the Stanley Kubrick thing. It says the photo quality of the photos that were taken. Why were they so cinematic? These astronauts were not photographers.
No.
And it was 1969. Pics from the 1990s look like crap.
Mm-hmm.
How come we can go back and look at these pictures from 1969 and they're so clear?
Right. They
There's
look like stuff that out of like Andy Warhol like style, like really well done artistry,
right.
like photography.
It yes, it very much looks like a cinematographer or photographer did
Yeah.
these, and um, that's not what these astronauts were by trade. So they didn't have that type of equipment up there
Right.
either, or they wouldn't have. So that's one thing that people are they can they consider to be conspiracy because the photographs were just so well done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's not enough variance in the photos. Like I was mentioning before, there were two men and a whole moon. Why the same backgrounds, the same
Right.
rocks, the same dust? Everything was the same. Also, there's the space rock with the letter C. There was a large space rock that appeared in several photographs that had appeared to have a letter C on it.
Weird.
Could this be a prop
Props.
where they just maybe
Probably.
missed,
Probably.
right? Like they maybe just
That's so
missed it
stupid.
and they were like, "Oh, where did the C come from?" Because it is a clear letter C. It doesn't look like just a crack in a rock.
No.
It's a clear letter C.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. Okay. The other option is if Stanley Kubrick didn't do it, Disney may be behind it.
I can see that, and that's what I thought.
Really?
Yes.
Disney? Yeah, so there's apparently lost technology known as the Disney Prism. It works through a sodium vapor process to separate light into yellow spectrum, allowing actors against a yellow lit backdrop to be perfectly separated, capturing transparency. So, if you remember Mary Poppins, when they were filmed dancing on a cartoon, you could still see the lace of her hat.
Yeah.
And that's not something you would see on a green screen. They
Right.
used this prism technology where it was like a cube, not very large cube, maybe it would fit in your hand because it fit inside the camera. And there were maybe 3 or 4 cubes that were made.
Oh,
And the
wow.
reason why we don't have the technology to return to the moon is because the technology of the cube has been lost.
Oh, snap.
That was the other conspiracy that I found really interesting because I was like, Disney could totally have done that.
Yeah.
The Disney magic.
Disney magic for sure.
Hmm. But
That's awesome.
there's that. Um, all right. So a little bit about the new Artemis program, just because it ties into what we're talking about. The new Artemis program was established with the objective to go to the moon and stay there.
Oh.
Yeah. Not to repeat the achievements of the Apollo program, whether they actually went or not, but to set up a lunar base as practice for Mars.
Oh, okay.
So that's what the new Artemis program is to do. The Artemis 1 was an unmanned mission, so it was just I guess like a rocket that they
Yeah.
shot. Artemis 2 just happened, and they achieved their objective of sending humans beyond the moon, the farthest humans have ever been. So they went
Oh.
to the other side of the moon.
Oh, they went to the dark side of the moon?
Yes.
Nice.
The Artemis 4 is set to launch in 2028 and is supposed to be the first crewed moon landing since 1972. And
Not good.
astronauts are supposed to land on the moon's south pole, a region previously unvisited by humans, which would make sense if they're actually going this time. It's going to look different than everything they have shown us. So
Yeah.
they're going to tell us we're going somewhere different.
Mhm.
And China is also set to land on the moon in 2030.
Of course. Another space race.
Another space race.
That's wicked cool. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you. That's all we have for you.
Yes. You can decide for yourself whether you believe the original moon landing occurred.
Exactly.
Um, but I do hope that this time, it works out. I hope it works out and that
Yeah.
there isn't anything
I think that would
too
be
scary
really
that
cool.
happens.
I would,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, now they wouldn't, I don't think they get away with faking it now.
Yeah, there's oh, everything is so
I mean, there's
in the
so much
public eye
AI, but
now.
at the same time, I don't think that they would, I think people would just scope it out if it
Yeah.
was. So we'll see. We will see in 2028.
2028.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's all I have for you for today.
We record and post every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Unfortunately, this episode was late for you. We've had some life get in the way.
Yeah, some scheduling issues.
Yes. So we do still tend to um, intend to post every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But remember, trust no one.
Question everything. And if you want to send us your stories, you can send them at the pod. You can reach us at satisfactionpod@outlook.com. Again, if you want to send us your stories to read on the podcast, you can reach us at satisfactionpod@outlook.com. It would be really cool to read your spooky, weird, crazy, whatever stories.
Yeah.
And we have an Instagram.
Yes, our Instagram is at SuspectionPod, and you can find the links in the bio for the Spotify, the um, YouTube, and what was the other one? Amazon Music.
Yep,
We also have a
that's the one.
Patreon that posts once a month a true crime story, and this month we will be posting the Satanic Panic, a
Yes,
new, a modern day witch hunt.
I'm excited for that one too. All right, thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.